And by the way, you can be in Miami and still be outside. You can be in Cleveland and still be outside. But at NOLS, we take you to these remote and incredibly austere and beautiful environments. And we believe that wilderness is the best place to teach these leadership skills.
On this episode, we have Sandy Colhoun. Tell me all about NOLS. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
NOLS leads astronauts into the wilderness. We take Google executives into the wilderness. We take business school students into the wilderness, and all to teach them leadership skills. On a NOLS course, no phones, no technology whatsoever, zero. We use paper maps and compasses, and think about the satisfaction and the growth you get after 28 days or 30 days in the wilderness, and you come back and say, I did that. What else can the world throw at me?
Yeah. Damn, bro, that's crazy.
I know. Can you imagine what would happen? Like, you don't get the news. You have no idea what's happening in the world. You come back, anything could happen. It's such a gift to be able to work for NOLS. I love this work.
What's going on, everybody? This is Alex Quin, and you're tuned into another episode of the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. On this episode, we have Sandy Colhoun, 7th president of the National Outdoor Leadership School. What's up, Sandy?
Hey, Alex. Thank you so much for having me. I'm stoked to spend some time with you and share some news or what we're up to at NOLS. Yeah.
Hey, man, tell me all about NOLS. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm glad that we got to connect, and I want to hear all about it.
You're so great to have us come on. By the way, I'm so inspired by the work that you do, Alex. I've been, just going back and trying to read a little bit about the work that you do and all the connections that you make. And you are a guy who is hustling all the time, I can tell. So really happy to be able to spend some time with you. Yeah, well, NOLS was founded in 1965, and we are a leadership and wilderness outdoor skills school. So what we're doing is taking students on courses all around the world into remote and austere environments to teach them both leadership and wilderness skills.
Damn. It's awesome, bro.
Yeah, it's incredible. And actually, as we're getting started, we actually do a bunch of different things. First, we do these outdoor expeditions and courses, but we also have a wilderness medicine school. And we train about more than 20,000 students per year take a wilderness first aid, a wilderness first responder, or a wilderness EMT course with us. So we have kind of two businesses that we do.
This is fantastic, man. This sounds like some shit I would want to be part of all the way around. That's what really caught our eye when we connected, and we're like, damn, we've never talked about something like this, and it's so necessary. Like, so many people are used to living big in the cities and being used to everything being done for you, but like, we need to have these skill sets. Like, it's important.
Oh, you're exactly right. We believe that a life lived outside is a life well lived. And by the way, you can be in Miami and still be outside. You can be in Cleveland and still be outside. But at NOLS, we take you to these remote and incredibly austere and beautiful environments. And we believe that wilderness is the best place to teach these leadership skills, because this is the key. In the wilderness, in remote places, the conditions in the environment, they're not contrived. Nature happens, and you have to respond to where you are and the circumstances that you're in. So we believe that the real challenges that you face in the wilderness prepare you well to be a leader.
How did you end up here, man? Like, did you want to do this your whole life? Was it random?
Listen, it's a dream to be leading the National Outdoor Leadership School, NOLS. I have to pinch myself. I'm so lucky and fortunate and so excited to be doing it. But my background is pretty, I had an interesting journey. Everyone has a journey. You had a journey. My journey really began when I was a kid. I loved the outdoors. I did take a NOLS course when I was about 17 years old. I went into the Wind River Mountains of Wyoming. I really wanted to learn how to be independent in the wilderness, and NOLS gave me the tools that I needed to do that. How to read a map and compass, how to take care of yourself, how to move through these mountain ranges. And I got back and I was like, okay, now I have this skill set, and it kind of guided me through my entire pathway in my journey. Ultimately, though, my career has been a little bit different than that. I spent a huge chunk of my time working for organizations in fundraising and development.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so I
raised a ton, by the way. Congrats.
Thank you. Well, hey, listen, my life has been a lot about service to others. Like, I feel like I've been given so much in my life, and my life is about service to others. I hope, I try to, and NOLS, boy, you couldn't find a better place to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you apply an entrepreneurial mindset to leading an established organization like NOLS, especially in times of change and challenge like the one we're in right now?
Well, that is such a good question. And I'll tell you that, let me just share one of the founding principles of what we do on a NOLS course. We teach something called expedition behavior. Okay. We
Mm-hmm.
call it EB. And it's really a set of values that guide any expedition or course that we take into the wilderness. So some of the examples of expedition behavior might be something like, treat everyone with dignity and respect, support leadership and growth in everyone. These are values that we talk about. Do your share and stay organized. And so you ask, the question really is, how do we stay innovative, right, at NOLS? And what we want to do is make sure that we are founded and grounded in our value set, right? That's the starting point at our organization, right? And then
Yeah.
from there, like, we also have to be flexible and innovative. And one of the things that I'm really interested in as the president of NOLS is making sure that we develop new products and new lines of work and business that allow us to meet the market where it is. Because
Yeah.
you're right, we've been around since 1965. We know exactly what we're doing in the wilderness, but the marketplace changes, and we have to be flexible to that.
What, as far as like your client base, right?
Mm.
Um, are a majority of people that come on these expeditions on the younger side, or are they older folks? Like, is it an even mix? I'm trying to get an understanding for who like your
Yeah.
community is.
Totally. So we have courses that are for as young as 14, like we call them adventure courses, 14, 15, 16.
Oh, nice.
But I would say maybe the majority, maybe not, of our courses are college age students or students that are just finishing secondary school and heading off to college. We have a gap year program, so you can take a whole, like, a semester with NOLS, where you get a
Oh,
variety. You can do a variety of things. You could do like river rafting, backpacking, and mountaineering in a semester. Um, so, one of the things, Alex, so to answer your question, it goes all the way from younger kids all the way through college, and then we actually have courses that are custom education that allow us to work with adults. And you may not know this, but NOLS leads astronauts into the wilderness. We take Google executives into the wilderness. We take business school students into the wilderness, and all to teach them leadership skills. So it's a range. It's a real range of student ages.
I love how you guys got something as natural to everybody as is nature, and then combined it with business, because there are certain, like, talk to me about the values and talk to me about like that intersection between both of these
Yeah,
very important things, and how it's helping these people out, from an astronaut to a Google executive. I mean, there's
you
something
got it.
to this. You guys are
You're
onto something here.
Well, listen. So, like, the Artemis the NASA astronauts on the Artemis missions, all of them who are American astronauts, will have been on a NOLS course. And you say, what does NOLS offer that NASA? I mean, NASA doesn't offer. And the answer is that they build their team in environments with real consequences. So you have, I'll tell you a little anecdote that might be helpful. So, is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, go in.
Cool, great. So there's an astronaut named Leland Melvin. Great guy, just extraordinary human being. And he told a story about being on his NOLS course with his commander. And by the way, the commander in space is like the boss. He says something or she says something, it happens. But on a NOLS course, we uh, we have leaders for the day, and so each person has an opportunity to lead. So you might be leading your commander, who would be in space, normally your big boss, right? So he tells this story about being out in the wilderness with NOLS, and his commander was getting kind of grumpy, and Leland thought, I wonder if he's thirsty. Maybe he's getting dehydrated. So he gave him water, and a couple minutes later, the commander is like all calm again. And he's like, interesting lesson. Fast forward, they're on the International Space Station, and the commander's getting testy about something. And, the consequences out there are severe. So Leland passes him a water bottle, and the guy drinks the water, and he gets all calm and cool again. And Leland says, that was a direct connection to my NOLS experience in the backcountry, understanding what it would take for just little gestures like that to allow my commander to be at his best self and to actually carry out the mission in space. We learned that together on a NOLS course. So to answer your question, when you are in a wild, remote, and austere environment with a team of people, you learn to work together to
Mhm.
overcome challenges. And that is applicable in everything we do, in our work life, in our family life, in our church life, in our synagogue life, wherever you are. Leadership matters in those circumstances.
Yeah, and you know what? Now that you're talking about it, you mentioned family. That's a very important one because we talk business, we talk money, all that stuff is
Right.
great. If our personal life is a disaster, everything else will probably be a disaster. I can only imagine how beautiful of an experience this could be for a family, whether the family is close together or not. I mean, sure, beautiful moments that come out of an experience like this because you
Yep.
have to be alert, you have to be attentive, you have to be selfless, you have to care, like you have to make sure everybody's okay. I mean, egos and attitudes and all that stuff. I mean, I guess take a back seat when you're in a harsh environment and everybody needs to make sure that everybody's good.
Absolutely. Well, that directly correlates to this whole idea of expedition behavior, which we were just talking about, the values, do your share, stay organized, help others, model integrity, all these things. Those are values that are, part of every background, every cultural, every heritage. Those expedition behavior values count. And what's interesting is that EB was as a set of values was developed by the founder of NOLS, Paul Petzl.
Mm-hmm.
And here's how it happened. He was leading mountaineers on expeditions to the Himalayas on these teams to climb these giant mountains in the Himalayas. And he realized over the course of these expeditions that it wasn't the teams with the most talented individuals that were getting to the summits. It was the teams that worked best together. You might have players whose ability weren't as strong, but the teamwork was strong. And those are the ones that were getting on the summit as a team versus those with the like very strong individual skill sets. So
Yeah.
he took these lessons from the Himalayas, brought them back to Lander, Wyoming, where we're based, and developed the National Outdoor Leadership School. And that little school has grown on to be a school that has 14 campuses all around the world. We are in India, we're in New Zealand, we're in Patagonia, Chile, we're in Alaska, we're in Mexico, we're in East Africa. We are all over the world in remote environments.
That is so badass.
Yeah, it's totally
Cool.
badass. And we
I'm
just want to
pumped
get
about hearing this for real. Like this is super cool. This is something I want to be part of somehow, some
well,
way.
well, let's get you out on a course. We'd love to do that. You got to
Yeah.
try it firsthand.
Yeah, this sounds incredible. Like this sounds like such a like self-help, self-growth like opportunity to understand the world we live in a lot better. And you never know when you're gonna need these skill sets, not just in the at home or in the office or in the meeting or in a team building activity, but shit, you don't know when you're gonna have to like know like how to survive, you know?
Well, totally. And I think that, what we do, here's an interesting piece that is like kind of adds a little bit of clarity what we do at NOLS. We don't call the leaders of NOLS trips guides. They are instructors. So we're a school at heart. At heart,
Mhm.
what we do is teach. So we're not taking clients and, hauling them up mountains or getting them across a river or showing them how to ride a horse. We're teaching them how to do those things. By the way, we have horsebacking trips too, which are incredible, which means, you're riding horses back into the wilderness. They're carrying the loads. You're learning how to train to work with the horses and ride horses and take care of the horses on your course. Um, we also
Oh,
have
like
like
take care of
lump.
the horses as well, not just like okay, okay, I got you, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you'll start off a horse packing course. Many of our horse packing courses will start in Wyoming. We have a ranch there. It's called the Three Peaks Ranch. It's beautiful, like 100 over 140 horses there. And you'll start there, and you'll spend the first couple of days actually meeting the horse that you're going to ride, building a relationship with that horse, learning how to saddle the horse, how to pack the horse, and then eventually you leave from there and head off into the mountains.
Wow. How often like do you yourself partake in expeditions? I know you're working on the administrative side and you're the big boss.
Yeah.
How often are you
Yeah.
out there?
Yeah. I wish it was more. I'm glad you're asking, though. Actually, on Thursday of this week, I'm heading to our campus in Baja, Mexico,
Oh,
and
okay, cool.
I'll be heading out into we have a campus there, and I'll be heading out on a short course for about 5 days. We have these beautiful sailboats that we go out on, and sort of they're open concept 22-foot boats, and we'll be sailing around the Sea of Cortez together for a week, getting to know a group of people together. So, an amazing opportunity to build a leadership team. Actually, it's our trustees and a couple other folks coming, so it should be great.
Have you done family yet? Like you and your family took part in something or any family
Well,
members?
well, as it turns out, my wife took a NOLS course before I even met her, so we were
No.
aligned. Yeah, yeah, we were aligned early on that one. But our family spends a lot of time in the outdoors. It's a big focus of who we are and what we do. So,
Yeah.
every summer we're basically heading out into the wilderness together, and that's kind of part of how we kind of we roll in our family in our family. So it's just part of who we are.
I like that. So
how about you in your family, Alex? I just had to ask you, in your family, has the outdoors been a part of your life?
Look, man, we travel a whole lot. We've had some outdoor experiences. We spent like one of the most memorable ones I could bring up is like 8 years ago, we spent New Year's Eve in the Sahara Desert with the Berbers.
Whoa.
It was
Wow.
cold as shit. But it was beautiful, and the sunrise was like one of the most beautiful things out there in the middle of the desert. That was beautiful. We've gone camping, the cookie cutter camping. Um, we've gone to Peru. Done Machu Picchu. We've
Oh, wow. So there you go. You're
we've
getting
done
out there.
motocross. We've done horseback riding, kind of stuff like that. Not as in depth as what we're talking about here, but we are active and we do go out there in the world and we do sailboats and we do different things. We're pretty open for stuff like that.
Everyone benefits from being outside. However you ever do it. There's no judgment. Just get out and be outside, and that's going to make you a healthier person. That's what I personally believe anyway.
Yeah, man, because like everybody's like locked away in their house, in their room, on their phone, on their iPad, especially after 2020 where everybody was jammed in their house. Like that it's sad, bro. Like even myself, sometimes like I don't realize it. Like I'll give you a perfect example. This morning, right? I'm in my apartment, I'm cool, whatever. And then I step outside to walk my dog. And it just felt so nice to be outside. Like sometimes you're in the comfort of your home and it's cool, but like the world is beautiful. Like I don't think we're meant to be locked away in a cubicle in a room all day long, staring at another cube, another square screen into another world that's not real. Like how sustainable is that? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's so important. And, it also, one of the things about NOLS that you mentioned this just as you were starting there, and maybe it goes without saying, but on a NOLS course, no phones, no technology whatsoever, zero, no technology. Nice. So when our students head into the wilderness, like there is no technology, we use paper maps and compasses, to travel through these environments. So, you're just using the map and compass to get there. And that's one of the skills that we really train people on. I mean, obviously, like navigation is super duper important and we don't need to rely on technology. So by setting all that aside, we expose our students to these remote and beautiful places, which gives them this incredible environmental stewardship going on, because you cannot help but get profoundly connected to the environment when you're living in it for 30 days, which is what, many of our courses are.
Wow. And is this something where they're fully offered 30 days, or they have to they check in at certain times and
yeah, fully off. When you leave, you're gone for basically 28 days in most cases. So yeah.
Damn, bro, that's crazy.
I know. Can you imagine what would happen? Like you don't get the news, you have no idea what's happening in the world. You come back, anything could have happened.
Oh my God.
By the way, hey, do you know
so scary and so great at the same time?
Oh, yeah, well, it's intimidating. And by the way, go to nols.edu, you can see all of our courses and what happens, what we try to do, because it can what I just said might sound intimidating to a lot of people, like, wow, 30 days. But what happens is you can find a course that you're excited about. It could be sea kayaking, it could be mountaineering, it could be backpacking, it could be river rafting. And then you can sign up, and then, or even before you can sign up, you can join a webinar where we explain what to expect on that course.
Now you're talking my language. Marketing webinars, like
yes, yeah. We need to do better at that. We that's a whole area that we're trying to grow, and get better marketing and better outreach strategies. So that's why we're hanging out with you, man. We got to learn.
Hey, listen, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
I know we said we're limited on technology because obviously for obvious reasons, right? It's part of the program. Have you while you're out there, have you guys implemented, or maybe like the team leader, the instructor, right? Have you guys implemented the what do you call those? Elon's Wi-Fi thing. What was it called? Remind me.
Oh, the Starlink.
The Starlink, yeah. Have you guys taken any backpacks? I've heard great things about people going out in the Amazon and getting great signal, should they need it. Is that something that you guys have looked into or been part of?
Well, so we don't use that. We have all courses go with a satellite connection device, a satellite phone, so the instructors can, in an emergency, like and that can you actually reach out to and be in touch immediately with our base. So it's really important actually to mention this. So the DNA, the absolute most important thing, the central piece of what we do is risk management at NOLS. We think we're the best in the world at that. And that means that allows us to go to those remote places and be very, very confident. Every single NOLS course that goes out into the wilderness has a lead course instructor. It takes a minimum of 3 years of training to become a lead course instructor. So these are the most experienced outdoors people, men and women, that you can find anywhere, and they're super, and that allows you to go to these places where I keep on talking about this, but there's risk, and we need to be prepared for that. So that's a huge part of what we do, and it's, of course, the technology. There is a way for us to reach out if there was an emergency, and we have a really strong program around that.
Yeah, I figured you did. I mean, that stuff is extremely important. After 50 years, you guys have it on lock.
Yeah, we've got it. I was curious if you've heard of an artist. She's sort of an alternative artist named Maggie Rogers. She's got a great tune. Check her out sometime. It's Maggie Rogers.
Maggie Rogers. Okay.
Maggie, and she has a great tune
songwriter. Okay.
Yeah, she has a great tune called Alaska. And you made me think of it because she took a NOLS course, and she was having kind of the story that I've been told, I have not met Maggie yet, but the story I'm told is that she was sort of in a creative funk, and she decided to take a NOLS course in Alaska. And then she comes back and just cranks out this art, and this song, Alaska, is written specifically about her NOLS course. And I encourage you to listen to it. It's a really cool tune, and she's a rising artist, rising talent.
I see. I'm looking here. She's signed to Capitol Records. She's a year younger than me. She's doing her thing. This is great. Y'all listen. If you guys want to listen to the song, I'm gonna link it on the show notes. Whatever platform you're on, go to the episode and you'll see it there, or go to hustleinspireshustle.com/podcast. Find this episode and everything we're talking about, including the course finder page, which if you go to nols.edu, you go to the course finder page, which I'm on right now. You don't see it, but I'm seeing it. This is great.
We have a lot of choices out there. There's a lot of cool things that you can do at NOLS. It's just kind of amazing. So you just got to pick. The hardest thing is really deciding where you want to go and what you want to do, and after that, you're off to the races.
This wilderness horse packing for adults looks absolutely incredible. My goodness.
Yeah. Oh, and if you could meet the team, so I was this past July, I think I went out to Three Peaks Ranch and went there to meet the team. Oh, the people, the team of instructors and the staff that run that operation are just out of time. They're amazing. And they just, they walk around, there are over 100 horses in the corral, and they'll go to each one and they'll say, oh, this is Buckles. And that's Rocket. And that one's,
all of them.
They know the name, they know the personality, they know where they came from. It's amazing.
So I'm seeing here, you have 55 courses as of right now.
Oh, we have, more than that. Yeah, we have courses. There's, because the truth is we have courses that are for the summer season and then for all seasons. And so I'm not sure what page you're looking at right now, but there's hundreds of courses actually.
Yeah, there's something for everyone here. Okay, you don't like the cold, you could go horseback riding. You don't like horseback riding or the cold, you could go to Baja.
That's right. Go to Baja, or we have we have a whole campus in Alaska. We have a whole campus in Patagonia, Chile. So you can, actually, you can just pick.
What has been the most impactful one for you as an individual?
Oh, that's tough. Well, it probably has to go back to my Wind River Mountaineering course, the very first one I took. And I want to tell you, Alex, just to be fair, it was hard for me. I struggled a lot on that course. It was a very heavy backpack. I got some blisters on my feet, which are really uncomfortable. And but it was such a empowering experience for me. I really left that course understanding that I could take care of myself in the wilderness. And it was the foundation for so many other things that now you can't really know at the time, but as you look back, right? I mean, I'm sure you have experiences, Alex, that you had 10 years ago. You're like, wow, that was something that really shaped my future. What was that for you?
Holy shit. Um, mistakes, definitely. Mistakes, definitely. Burning bridges. You know, like not like super bad stuff, but you know, maybe have falling outs with people that maybe it shouldn't have happened, or maybe my perspective at the moment
You're right.
wasn't where it needed to be. Something that really shaped my future too, outside of like mistakes and all that, has been mentorship.
Oh, huge.
Just opening it up, opening myself up to learn from others. Um, and work on myself. Like just working on myself has been like the biggest thing, man. Learning from mistakes, learning from others' mistakes, learning from others' wins, repeating successful actions. This podcast, like this for me, like I've been doing this for a little bit over 3 years. This is going to be episode 115, 116 something. This has been huge for me. Because I get to sit down with people like you. Like I never even knew this existed until a few weeks ago. And look at this.
Yeah.
Now I want to be part of it somehow. And this is not stuff I'm usually doing. So, yeah, I mean, I hope that answers your question. There's been a few things that have been keys for me to be who I am today, and to kind of be in the mindset that I'm in today.
I'm just curious if, and I'm always curious as I get to know people. And by the way, like Hustle Inspires Hustle is new for me. And I'm so psyched to dive into it. Now I'm like part of your community. So it's like we're both
Yeah.
like, it's where these two overlapping concentric circles meet. But, I'm always interested in like, you have such high energy. You're a high energy person. Like, was your parents high energy people too? Do you think you kind of got that from them? Just curious.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely my family is high energy. From my grandparents, my parents, entrepreneurs, go-getters, figure it out. And also like I think when you don't, at least in my specific case coming up, we weren't in poverty or in really bad shape or anything, but there, there wasn't an abundance of certain things, and I think that's a big motivator sometimes for people.
You're right.
Um, to go out and to go out and create, to go out and create something that maybe is not there for you, and to the motivation to help others, right? So uh, I'll explain. I'll give you an explanation. Like one of the things that you guys teach out there is to look out for each other, right? To be selfless, to be thinking about others all the time, and sometimes people don't realize it, but they're only thinking about themselves. They think they're being selfless. They think that they're maybe thinking about others, but they're really putting themselves first. And I think it takes situations like hard life lessons that you go through, or even expeditions like the ones we're discussing right now, to put you in a
Yeah.
perspective where it's like, maybe I'm looking at things the wrong way. Maybe I need to shift my perspective, and maybe that shift in perspective will allow me to live a better, easier life, a more joyful life. But it's just a matter of being aware. If you're not self-aware, you're just gonna go out, like you're gonna be hamster wheeling and wondering why things don't change.
Well, everything you just said literally connects directly to expedition behavior, what we call EB at NOLS. And because in a team, on a small team in a remote place, you need to collaborate and work together. So,
Yeah.
for example, if there's conflict, you mentioned that, if there's conflict in a group, like you need to resolve it in a productive way that allows everyone to move forward without being mean-spirited, but also like being honest. And if you can do that, then what you've created is an environment where like people trust each other. And what has to happen in these, like, for example, like think about like NOLS students and instructors crossing over like a mountain pass that's rocky and the weather's changing. If people don't trust each other and can't like hear how someone else is feeling and understand that they might be nervous or that they're not sure, and they if they can't communicate that, then that puts the whole team at risk. So the point of the story is like being able to communicate clearly and to trust each other, which is built on these foundations of modeling integrity and being supportive and listening carefully. All of those things come together to make a great expedition, and that's what happens when you're out. And then it sounds like that's happening. That's what you've experienced obviously in your life as well.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm relating so much to what you're telling me, because although this is something that's completely left field for me and something I haven't experienced, I guess the core aspects of it and the values behind it resonate. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. I just as I think about NOLS, one of the things that we try to do is elevate the leader in everyone, Because we are all leaders, right? And you're a leader in your family, you're a leader in your company, and the company that you run, Alex, you know, you're a leader in your in the industry. But at NOLS, we try to teach that you can elevate the leader in everyone, give everyone the opportunity to lead, and give everybody to lead in their own way, because we all don't all lead in the same. We don't have, your style is different than my style is different than the other person's style, but being able to like collaborate and oh, that's the way they're going to do it. And on NOLS course, when everyone gets the opportunity to lead for a day, you can witness and see how people choose to lead. What is their style? And then you can learn from that.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
That's a big part of the learning process for us on a NOLS course.
Now, let's say your average student, right? That's what we call them, students.
Yeah.
Okay, your average student, how often are they partaking in a course?
Oh, well,
because I'm
many
sure this is
students.
not like something you do one time. This has to be something that shakes you up in a way that, you're looking forward to the next one.
I think so. I think a lot of students wind up doing multiples of courses,
Yeah.
And what happens too is a lot of students might come to NOLS through wilderness medicine. So we run I think about 20,000 students or more through wilderness medicine, and we have a partnership. REI, the big outdoor retailer?
I'm not familiar with. No.
It's called Recreational Equipment Incorporated, REI, big retailer. They're all over the United States, and they partner with us. So
Okay.
the way you might find out about NOLS, like Alex, it would be like to take a wilderness medicine course first. So like you're in Miami and you take a NOLS wilderness medicine course, and then you're like, oh wow, I never even heard of NOLS. What else do they do? And they say, oh, now I'm going to go to a NOLS expedition or NOLS course. And then you might take a multiple courses over time. And then once you take one of our courses, then you're eligible for what we call alumni courses, which are like with basically other NOLS alumni going out onto a NOLS course. And we haven't even talked about NOLS custom education, which is this whole like part of the school where we've alluded to it, but that's where NASA astronauts or the U.S. Naval Academy, their midshipmen come on courses with us, or a Google executive would come on a course with us, or a Stanford Business School student might come on a course with us.
Let's unpack that one.
Which one?
The last one that you just mentioned is more of a custom course.
Yeah, custom ed. Yep. So like what could happen, Alex, like for example, let's just say you wanted to bring you and your colleagues from your company. I was look them all online. You say, I want to build the team. I want to continue to build the team. So we could have we could do lots of different things, but we could put together an entire course in the location that you want to support the goals that you're trying to achieve, which is to build a stronger team or bond your team. So we
Wow.
do, they're custom designed courses that our team will put together for you.
Damn, I could see that doing wonders for high performing teams.
Oh my gosh.
People don't even realize like how much of an ROI you can get from stuff like this. This is not just, oh, let's go and have fun and blow some money. It's not.
No. We completely agree with that. I mean, I was at the U.S. Naval Academy, I don't know, 9 months ago.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to go meet some people there. And by chance, the admiral that runs the whole U.S. Naval Academy walks by and I get introduced. And it was by chance. And the guy says, this is Sandy Colhoun. He's the president of NOLS. And the admiral, who looks like out of central casting, shakes, I love NOLS. I love NOLS. I said, wow, that's amazing. Like the head of the U.S. Naval Academy loves NOLS. Why? And he goes, because Sandy, at the U.S. Naval Academy, our midshipmen, we contrive all of these challenges for them, more push-ups, more running at 6 o'clock or 5 in the morning or whatever. The circumstances are created. But on a NOLS course, our midshipmen are forced to face real consequences in real time, which increases their leadership skills dramatically and allows them to actually like experience true leadership, like in real time. And our students come back from that, and one of the best things they did in the whole Naval Academy experience is a NOLS course.
I feel like people should definitely put this on their resume. And
it's huge.
Politicians should be put all of them through this. Like,
well, listen, we live in such a divisive world right now. It really is. It's remarkable. And like the need for leadership has never been more important.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like make people see things maybe in a different perspective, put opposing parties to go on some. This would be such a.
Yes.
Imagine this televised. You imagine grabbing a politician from this party, from that party, sending them off to God knows where to figure it out, televise that thing. My marketing mind is moving. My bad.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's super duper cool. We're working on all kinds of really interesting partnerships actually right now, which we're excited about. Yeah, absolutely. I got to keep talking with you about this stuff, Alex. You can send us some clients. We'd love that.
Yeah, man. So listen, what's your approach to strategic decision making, especially when faced with uncertainty or risk?
Listen, we have to be, as a school, more nimble than we've been. I'm just going to be honest with you about that. NOLS has had such an incredible, successful ride over since 1965. The marketplace has radically changed that we work in since that time. And so, like, we are in the middle of a strategic planning process, actually, where we're like working with a team of a cohort of a vast array of NOLS alumni and staff and trustees to come up with a plan that looks 5 to 7 years out and says, what do we want to be? Where are we headed? And what are the things that are going to drive the future of our school? And a big part of that is innovation. Like, we just need to be more flexible and willing to create courses that are exactly where our students want to be. I'll give you an example. Like, for example, and by the way, this is just an example. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen. But what if NOLS had a whole semester focused on film and photography and video, where we're going into these remote environments, but with like world-class photographers from National Geographic or documentary filmmakers, and teaching those skills as part of a NOLS course. Like, I think there might be a ton of demand for that. And so that's just one small example. We need to just continue to think about what the market wants. And that's sometimes hard to do. I mean, we're a large organization. We're complex. We're all over the world. And change doesn't come naturally. Like, people want to do what they're used to doing. And so my job is to define the direction, find the place where we want to head, and then get everybody aligned to moving that way. And that's tricky.
It is.
It's culture, like, people are used to doing things the way they're used to doing them. And finding a pathway to something new is the challenge. And by the way, to be the president of the National Outdoor Leadership School, it's like humbling. Like, I'm supposed to be the leader of the leadership school.
Yeah,
every once in a while I'm like, oh my gosh, no pressure, right?
Yeah. And you've been on since October 6th, right?
Well, I was the interim president. I became the interim president of NOLS almost exactly a year ago. So I've been sitting in the seat since then. I became the president of NOLS officially in October.
Yeah.
And we're just off and running. We got so many things that we're working on, and it's really exciting.
I'm excited for you, man. That's super cool.
Well, let's stay in touch, Alex. I want to get you on a course.
Yeah, no, it's happening, bro. Like, I'm telling you, it's on the books. It's been said on the podcast. I can't take it back.
All right. That sounds great. So
listen, what are some of your biggest challenges you faced in leading a nonprofit like NOLS, especially in today's rapidly changing world? I think you touched on that a little bit now. You have to be on top of the ball and creating new ideas, but what other challenges, cross your desk on a daily?
Well, there are a lot of things. We have. Sometimes I feel like, as a president of NOLS, you're a satellite. You're just taking signals from so many different directions. You have competing constituencies, and maybe not competing, but they all want attention. So I've got my alumni, who I care about a lot, and NOLS is a nonprofit, and a big part, or not a big part, but it's an important part of our revenue comes from philanthropy, donors supporting our school and allowing us to develop like scholarship programs. And so a big chunk of my work is like communicating with alumni. Then we have communications, right? So, like, as a leader of a nonprofit, like, I'm constantly focused on communicating with media, and then communication within the school with my trustees, with our advisory council. So communications is a big part of it. Then I'm I've got all these other layers. I'm constantly trying to like communicate or making sure that our risk mitigation practices are like perfect. Got legal and governance. I mean, there's just so many places where the signals are coming in, and I need to like prioritize and decide what's the most important thing we need to do right now, and also where are we headed in the next quarter.
Man, you're gonna write a hell of a book one day.
I do this thing, Alex. Roughly every 2 weeks, I write a letter to the NOLS staff, meaning everybody who has a NOLS.edu address. So it's not for the whole world. And my goal as a leader is to be really transparent. Transparency is super important to me because if you understand what I'm thinking, you're going to be like more aligned with it, I believe, or at least
Right.
understand why I'm doing it. So I write these letters to them every 2 weeks, and there's sort of like a history of what's happened in my tenure. And I'm
Yeah.
excited to be able to have that as a place to refer back to and say, this is what we accomplished. This is what was on our minds. This is where I was headed.
Yeah.
Communication, communication, communication. Like I cannot over communicate.
So how have your personal adventures, like climbing in Nepal and cycling over the Himalayas, shaped your
Yeah.
approach to leadership in life and to leadership right now in this position that you have?
Yeah. Well, many, many moons ago with a really close buddy of mine named Kurt, we we rode our bikes from Lhasa, Tibet, over the Himalayas to Kathmandu, Nepal. It took like 23 days, I think. And
Wow.
this is before the internet. This was before cell phones. This was the middle of nowhere. And it was a kind of amazing expedition, actually. And the lesson that I took away from that is that just starting something is maybe the hardest part. If you believe that you can start, you will achieve the goal. And
Hmm.
like the day we pedaled out of Lhasa, Tibet, there's just no way I thought we were going to make it to Kathmandu. It felt so far over so many miles, over so many mountain passes, over, almost to like 17, 18,000 feet on a bike.
Oh,
And, but like you set out, you begin, and ultimately you achieve. And I think like for all of us on this podcast, for you, for me, this notion of beginnings, being confident enough to step out of your comfort zone and try something new, I have always found that there's reward at the end of that.
yeah. It's just getting started because sometimes like us like thinking of how hard it's going to be is what kind of keeps us from doing certain things. But once you actually start, it's like, huh, well, maybe it's a little hard, but I could do this. I mean, like it's just taking
Yeah.
that first step.
I mean, your first podcast, I'm sure you were like probably nervous about it and like, oh my gosh, how's this going to go? And here you are 116 podcasts later. I mean, like you would have probably have dreamed that.
Yeah.
And in the same way that every NOLS student heads off into the wilderness, and they wonder, they have doubt, they're worried, can I do this? Is it going to be too hard? And they just take the first step, and your instructors are there right along with you all the way, and your course mates to help you like move through these challenges together. And think about the satisfaction and the growth you get after 28 days or 30 days in the wilderness, and you come back and say, I did that. What else what can the world throw at me? I'm going to be good.
Sandy, question for you, man.
Mm.
How do you want to be remembered?
Ooh, that's like, wow, Alex, bam. Um, I want to be remembered as someone that allowed Knowles to thrive for the next 50 years,
Mm.
that set the groundwork for that trajectory, that impact the thousands and thousands of students that will have been through and will continue to come through Knowles, that I was able to serve them by making sure that Knowles was a thriving organization. That's probably one. I want to be remembered as a great dad,
Yeah.
and a great husband. I have an incredible family, incredibly lucky to have all of that. And I work really hard for Knowles and it has an impact on them. So I'm grateful to them.
Yes.
And I think I come back to the idea of service, I feel like my life has been in service to others and I want to like continue to do that.
I love that. That's a great two-part answer. From a professional perspective, you're making a massive impact in thousands of lives, God knows for how many generations. And from a family aspect, you're grateful, and you want to be the best you could absolutely be. And I think that, I mean, that's ultimately what life is about, right? Service to ourselves, service to our family, and service
Mm.
to others. Those are the keys right there.
It's it. It really is. And I just feel so fortunate, right? I've been given a lot in this world, a ton. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just in every way, shape, or form. And so, um, if this is the way I can make my mark, then in serving of that's great. And it's such a gift to be able to work for Knowles. I love this work, so
Yeah.
feel lucky about that.
God bless you, man, and your job. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you jumping on here. If people want to connect with you specifically, because we're gonna link Knowles, we're gonna link
Yeah.
everything related to Knowles. But are you active on socials, or is there
Yeah,
any
yeah,
social?
you can see me anywhere. Like I'm all over LinkedIn, so just find me there, Sandy Colhoun, Colhoun, and you can touch me, reach out to me on LinkedIn for sure. You can find my email out there, I'm sure. Send an email to NOLS, and it'll always get to me. And I answer everybody. I have a policy in my life that if someone reaches out to me, I will reply.
Nice.
And I try to do it pretty quickly too. But yeah, that's my goal. And so far, I think I've kept that one up.
Cool. Alrighty, y'all. You heard it. This is Alex Quin, Sandy Colhoun from NOLS. It's been an incredible episode. Everything we talked about is in the show notes. Don't miss it. This is Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. See you in the next episode.